Do you know, I was thinking about some things before I came here and like the impact of like social media and stuff like on relationships today. And whether that's actually like, whether it's actually social media. Because the way I see it, right, it's taken like one generation to completely mess up relationships. Like our grandparents, you know, they loved each other. They got married young, been together for ages. Parents, you know, divorced, whatever. And then us, we're just completely messed up. Did it really just take one generation to mess that all up? Like, or were they low-key like not great and we just didn't know because social media wasn't a thing?
I think there's multiple factors that play into it. Social media is a big part today.
Yeah.
For sure. I think with the difference from our grandparents' generation to like even our parents' generation, which is why our parents' generation is like the generation of like divorce.
Yeah.
Is that prior to that, men and women needed each other to survive.
Okay.
Like it was, if we're going to live a comfortable life, we have to know how to make this work together.
Right, yeah.
And so there was an incentive to make it work, to do the inner growth, to make this relationship work, because it was like, if this doesn't work, the life is going to be a big struggle.
Yeah.
And now people can, which is right, we should have the freedom to do this, but they can survive by themselves. I was going to say quite comfortably now, maybe not in London for most people. Most people are kind of grinding their lives away in that sense because it's so expensive. But people can survive by themselves now.
Yeah.
So there's not a necessity for a relationship for survival. And so I think we're seeing when we don't need each other to survive, where the only reason you would stay in a relationship is because you have that desire in the moment to. I think this is what happens. And I think it's really telling that, okay, this is my opinion. Tell me what you think. I don't think we should marry for love.
Okay. What do you think we should marry for?
I think we should, not saying your marriage shouldn't have love.
Yeah.
It should. But I think when you say I'm going to marry you, I'm going to commit my life to you, you're making a commitment of duty to that person. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the commitment to the duty that has always carried marriages, not love, because your love for someone is going to fluctuate throughout the years. They're going to be, well, I was going to say days. There can be days, weeks, or even months where you're like, I can't stand this person right now.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be spending my time with them. But relationships are like waves, ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
And for anyone who, you know, my grandparents together for like 50, 60 years, I'm sure your grandparents were the same in that sense, staying together. They know this. Yeah. Like it's never not been that way in relationships. But I think the difference is with them, there was, not only was there less of an out, but it was a lot more advantageous to stay in a relationship and a marriage than to not be in one, especially if you want to have a family, right?
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, we either make this work or life is hell for us. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas now, okay, so now we don't have to do that. And this is what happens where people are free to, not that people shouldn't be free to go, you know, choose to go when they should, but when there's not a commitment to the duty of, okay, I make this duty of commitment to you. I guess I'm talking about marriage, because a relationship, you've not made that promise, right?
Yeah.
But now when you add social media, it gives the abundance of optionality.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I think it gives the illusion that we have so many options, and we do have a lot more access.
Yeah.
But one, it's only really given abundance to most women and like a small pool of like very attractive, successful, desirable guys. Mm. But also, for just being honest, like if you go on a dating app, or let's say you get 50 DMs in a month, out of those 50 DMs, maybe only 2, 3, or 4 are actually open to a relationship. The rest is more like just for fun. But I think the mistake, I think for guys, it's a lot harder for them to get the opportunity with women, which it is. Most guys actually really struggle. Yeah. And for girls, they get a lot of attention, but it's not necessarily the attention, well, the long-term investment.
It's not good attention. It's not the attention that we want.
I guess it depends on what kind of stuff you post, but yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about those things I've said?
I kind of agree with what you're saying. But I think, there's so many aspects to like, the introduction of social media, relationships. Like, there's not that like social, if you get a divorce, then it's frowned upon anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's just so common. Like, it's not, I think it should, like, it's not what I desire, but then again, it's like, if it doesn't work with someone, I'm like, we'll just get divorced. Like, like.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's the problem though.
Yeah.
I think it's, if we want marriages to work, not saying a divorce should be off the table ever, but it shouldn't be as easy as it is.
Yeah.
Because human beings, we can be so flippant. I mean, it's like people, sometimes you book your dream job. There are going to be some days where like, I really don't want to go into work today.
Yes.
I really don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate that I have it, but I don't want to do this. And then if you get to a point like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Sometimes we can ride that feeling out and then we come back to a point where we fall back in love with whatever we're doing, or sometimes we don't want to do it anymore. And if we have that approach with marriage, well, I guess we're not really making a commitment for life. Do you know what I mean? But maybe marriage doesn't work anymore. Maybe it's outdated.
I feel like marriage is more of a like, it's a fun thing to do. It's a nice thing to do. It's like,
the marriage or the wedding?
You do. Well, yeah. But like, what's the difference between like being married and being in a long-term like committed relationship? It's just the same.
Yeah.
It's just you just had a big celebration about it and stuff like I do want to get married, obviously, but like it's not. It's for the wedding day. It's for that. I can be in a long-term committed relationship and be content in that.
Yeah.
And trust that person isn't gonna just like walk out for no reason. Like for me, it doesn't do anything because of how like common divorce is and how.
Yeah. I'm being completely honest with you. I think a lot of girls want to get married just for the wedding day, and that's why a lot of guys don't want to get married.
Yeah. But I think it's for both of you. Like it's a celebration of your love. Like there's really like, you get to have all of your family and friends around. It's like, you're really solidifying everything. Like it's your like way of saying like we are actually together now. Like it is it's a huge thing. And I think it is great. I just think that it's not like nothing changes before and after marriage if you're in a committed relationship. Like if you've been with someone for like 5, 6, 7 years, apart from the like legalities of some things.
Yeah. But I guess you can always have a celebration without getting married.
You can do that, yeah.
Would you do that?
Yeah.
Okay. So you'd be down to not ever having to legally tie the knot, as long as you're with the kind of guy that you wanted?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would. I mean, it's obviously not ideal, but if that was like, we agreed, okay, we don't want to go through the whole legal process.
Yeah. Because
for whatever reason, there'd have to be a good reason that it's not worth it, or, but I don't know. Like, I think it is like a huge thing, and it's something that every girl wants to do. And, the legal sense, it does offer that kind of security, but it's not like essential.
Sure. I'm just going to speak for the men here.
Speak for the men. You do that.
Marriage only provides security for the woman, not the man.
Well, I guess it depends what you lay down.
What do you mean?
Well, like you can, what's it called, a prenup? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, well, in UK they don't do that.
They're not?
No.
Is that not a thing? Can you not like agree to not split?
They don't have like a agree to not ever split.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, marriage is supposed to be that. Marriage is supposed to be till death do us part, but people still do it anyway. No, they don't do prenups here. Prenup is a US thing, which I was very surprised because I was like, usually we follow suit, but we don't do that. You're absolutely right. Marriage provides security for the woman.
Or is it for the richer person?
What do you mean? Does marriage provide security for the richer person?
No, the other one, the other guy. Sorry, I keep knocking the mic.
You're right. Wait, what do you mean?
Like, so doesn't it just get split 50-50 when you divorce, right? Or is that not what happens?
Yeah, usually at least, or she may get more, depending on certain circumstances.
But like, if the woman earned more, would the man not get more of her money?
He would, but women generally don't choose guys that they earn more than.
See, that's not something that bothers me.
What?
Like earning more than a guy.
No, not that it bothers you, but okay, I want you to imagine this. You're 22, right?
Yes.
Imagine you work diligently, smart, very hard for the next 8 years. You get to 30, you've made this big success for yourself. You're worth 7 figures. You meet a guy, he's attractive, works a standard 9-to-5 job, very average job, right? Let's say you might be worth 10 million. He's not even worth 100K, right? He's surviving, doing his thing, good guy. But he's nowhere near your level in that terms of economic standing. And you know that if you get married and you get divorced, he's taking half of everything you worked for. Are you telling me you're going to go in being like, well, it's just marriage? Or are you going to think twice about it?
I don't really know. I mean, it doesn't bother me. Obviously, like, if I'm marrying someone, I would want them to be like okay for
even if they weren't with you. So if he cheated on you and then handed you divorce papers and he takes half your stuff, you'd be like, well, okay, fair enough.
I don't know. This is all very like situational though. I don't like.
Because that's what would happen, right? That could happen.
Then maybe that's the kind of situation where I'd be like, okay, let's not get married, but let's do something. Let's like have a fun time.
Okay. And that is exactly where a lot of guys are.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense. It does.
Because generally speaking, especially if, I don't want to sound like I'm preaching, but for a lot of women, when they get to a point where they want to start having a family, it's really important to them that they choose a guy who's able to provide for them in that sense.
Yeah, but I think that changes things because, like, when you divorce, if you've got kids, you're splitting that so that she can then look after the kids,
Assuming she gets custody, yeah.
Yeah, assuming she, yeah.
Yeah, which usually they do, to be fair. But I guess even in that sense, though, she wouldn't want to choose most women don't want to choose a guy who's not at least on her level. They would not marry down, so to speak.
I mean, because I do like, I go to uni and, I do psychology, I do clinical psychology and things like that. Like I'm expecting to have like a good paying job and to keep, going in that sense. So like.
Would you be okay marrying a guy who wasn't on your level?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Just because I know like, that's like the life I'm setting up for myself is to be able to provide for myself. I wouldn't want.
You wouldn't mind providing for him as well?
Yeah.
That's good, man.
Obviously, I still want someone that works hard. But
yeah,
if I make the most money, I make the most money. Like I'm going to uni so I can make the most money for myself. So
yeah,
I don't have to expect someone else to do that for me because I'm doing it for myself.
I respect that. Hey, listen, gents, if you're watching this, I'm just gonna say that's a rare breed, man, because most girls do not say that. They would not say that at all.
Yeah, no, I mean I get why, because people have said, what about when you have kids and then you're on maternity leave, you're not earning as much, or you for whatever reason, and then you're stuck with him and his pay, and I get that, but I don't.
I love to say stuck with him. It's like that's the father of your kid.
Yeah, no,
that's the father of your child. No, but
you're
I agree
on
with
his
what you're
wage,
saying.
like for example, and that could be a struggle, but then that's something you need to prepare for, I guess.
Yeah, I know what you're getting into.
And you need to be on the same boat with someone. You can't pick what. If you love someone, you can't pick what they choose to do with their life. If they want to work in a shop for the rest of their life because that's what they like to do, then that's them. I'm not going to say, well, I love you, but not enough because you want to work in a shop for the rest of your life. Like, I don't know. Yeah,
no, I hear that. Honestly, I think that's a beautiful quality to have. I think it's so rare. It's so rare. Yeah. And you said you do psychology.
Yeah.
Has that helped you with understanding guys more?
No. Not at all. Not at all.
Not at all?
No, I still don't get it.
Really?
No.
What don't you get?
Do you know what? I think one thing that I've kind of thought for myself, going back to like the whole social media thing, I think we all get so messed up from a young age. And especially with relationships, like being in a relationship at 16 and having, seeing all these people online, like your favorite influencers, they're getting married, they're having this kind of relationship, but then you're still having, that childish mindset from all your friends, rumors, all that kind of thing. And I think it really, really messes you up. I think like for me, like my first relationship that I was in really messed me up for ages.
Because of social media?
Well, and because it's him. But I feel like, like social media played a massive part in that, comparing myself to other people, being able to just go online and see what his exes look like. stuff like
Right,
that.
the accessibility.
That, finding text messages, things that I wouldn't have found out otherwise. Obviously there's a benefit to that, but it's also like, maybe I would have been better off if I never knew about that.
I guess, could you not make the choice to not look at those things?
Yeah, but I don't have that kind of self-control. So, yeah, and I think it messes people up, and then, and then they take that on into their next relationships, and it just carries on. I think people are really messed up.
Yeah. I think what social media in particular has done is given people a lot of power and agency. Mm-hmm. But with that power and agency comes responsibility.
Yeah.
So if you know that you're the type of person to go through and do that, sometimes we have to be our own parent, right?
Yeah.
So then we have to be, okay, if I know this about me, I have to either restrict myself from doing that. So maybe I don't follow or I can't see those things. Maybe get rid of social media. I mean, that's quite drastic. I say drastic. Is it drastic? Maybe it's drastic. But we have to be our own parent so that we know how to handle the temptations we have in ourselves that would not serve us. Does that make sense?
I mean, this might be controversial, but
Go for it.
I don't think there's anything wrong with going through someone's phone.
Hope you really enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full episode where that clip is from, then I want you to click right here where you can watch the full episode. And if you're ready to claim your man today, enroll in my program below, and I'll see you there. Wishing you an amazing day.